The 2010s, a time of great change for Shonen Jump. Many of their notable titles were on the brink of ending or had already finished their legendary run in the magazine. Household series like Hitman Reborn and Beelzebub printed their last page at the start of the decade. Titles like Toriko and Bleach, which once was on the front page of Jump, followed suit and are now gone. But the worst was yet to come. Enter the year 2014. Jump's flagship title and raging sensation Naruto by Musashi Kishimoto had ended its legendary run. A manga whose impact was felt worldwide. Seamlessly becoming an overnight hit, it brought the niche genre of anime back to the forefront in the West. It wasn't just DBZ the kids were role-playing as, but Naruto too. With the end of so many remarkable titles, Shonen Jump was left with a problem: how to fill the void. Jump scrambled to find its new hitmaker, their new Naruto. Was the next big thing already on the roster, or was it a new story? During that time, Jump released several battle shonen to recapture that lightning in the bottle. Titles like The Iron Knight, Self-Sympathy, even Barrage were among the few, but nothing grabbed the audience attention, and soon all those stories would receive the axe. But through the dark and endless cycle of releases and axes came My Hero Academia, a story about heroes and a boy that wanted to be one. Did Jump finally find its next big thing? The right place, the right time. The early 2010s were a great time for the hero genre. Marvel has captured the world's attention with a famed lineup of Avenger movies. Heroes like Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, and Captain America became well-known names in the mainstream media. In the eyes of the public, all they saw were heroes. People in capes, saving others, were something that the audience could recognize, something that they knew. The need for more heroes were growing. Now, coupled by the fact that Shonen Jump had the Naruto-sized hole to fill, it seemed poised for My Hero, a story about heroes, to slot right in and become a hit. And a hit it was. The proof is in the pudding. To judge if a manga has sustainability, look no further than its sales. It's a story's first real test of longevity. Many titles will be axed and forgotten due to poor numbers. And in its debut release, My Hero sold over 70,000 copies week 1, within a month time selling over 130,000 copies. And the numbers would only increase. Not suffering from a drop off, with each new volume the number would skyrocket, almost doubling the last release. Soon enough, this prompted an anime announcement, reaching a milestone that many manga dream to achieve. This only caused the popularity of the series to grow. Jump has found its Naruto successor. But not only was My Hero a remarkable success, but it was also good. My Hero created a story about what if the world was filled with heroes. What would be the effects of such a thing? We saw how heroism was legalized and became a paid profession. You didn't need to hide behind a mask. In this story, it was purely decorational. We saw how this society grew and developed upcoming heroes, installed in schools and its curriculum. We also witnessed the faults of this hero society, how hero can grow and persist right in its underbelly. All these aspects were beautifully introduced, and mixed in with stunning art, My Hero was bright, almost brighter than All Might. Reading My Hero for many was like leaping into a new world, learning how this society works, being introduced to a cast of characters, fantasizing about what powers or heroes we will see next was fun. Watching a boy who had no power still leap in to save another prompted my favorite moment in the series.
Young man, you too can become a hero.
Then that same boy gaining power only to not be ready to use it, and having to grow not only his body but mind. And on the flip side, watching the villains go through that same growth, it was intriguing. My Hero was in a good place. The fandom was riding on cloud 9. Until the fall off.
As we know, My Hero is a long-running series, and with a lot of long-running series, especially in Jump, everything isn't planned out. The author may have an end goal in mind, but getting there is murky. We know that oftentimes mangakas have to dive right in with their stories and hope it pan out. If not, then they meet the axe.
So anyways, when did My Hero start to sour? If someone were to look at its sales, they would think it's been consistently great. Maybe a slight dip here and there, but nothing to worry about. So if the numbers weren't the problem, what was? For me, what soured was the story itself. Now, everything wasn't all bad. There were story beats that I was eagerly waiting on and enjoyed. However, there are a few things that left a sour taste in my mouth. Too many characters. And I know, this is a common critique, not only for My Hero Academia, but for many mangas as a whole. But bear with me, this coincides with one of my biggest pet peeves in storytelling. For a world to feel alive, you need people in it. Now, not every character in that said world need to have an important role or a grandiose moment. But if you're going to introduce someone or something, give it something to do. I, for one, love the creation of a character, how they develop, how they interact with others, what their purpose. And when I'm introduced to a cast of unique and fun characters, I become intrigued. And seeing some of these characters not being utilized is a missed opportunity in my books. And I know there's several reasons for this. The story would be too long, side characters aren't important as the main, etc, etc. And I know Hiro already expressed how hard it was for him to juggle such a large cast, so I won't harp on this point. But I do feel like more could have been done. And don't get me wrong, there are many side characters that I feel were well done and that I truly enjoyed. Like the screen time that people like Lady Nagant or Gentle received and how their story unfold was nice. But personally, I just felt more could have been done. I wanted to see more of you. But yeah, some plotline felt half-baked. A lot of the time, Hiro will lay the foundation of a plot point early on. We will see the progression and ultimately the climax of that said story. However, Hiro would cook with one plotline and then underserve with the other. For example, the mutated human heteromorphic movement storyline with Spinner, Sojo, and others. As a whole, it felt rushed and not fully fleshed out. And it's clear that Hiro was trying to build on this plotline from the beginning. But for whatever reason, the execution fell flat, as opposed to the Todoroki storyline, which, no pun intended, was flames. Maybe we weren't invested in the character enough, or the central issue of that storyline, like we were with Endeavor and his family dynamics. But either way, throughout the story, it felt like some storyline would hit and others won't. And in a story as large as My Hero, that feels a little bit disappointing. And I could probably continue to nitpick, but overall, it felt like MHA took a dip in quality. Every once in a while, it will score with a great moment, and then in the next, commit a foul. And as I reached the end of My Hero, the feeling I once had for it was no more. But it doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the end. So did My Hero suffer from a bad ending? Nowadays, whenever a manga ends, it seems like everyone is in uproar about how bad the series went and how the ending should have been handled differently. And yes, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. And yes, personally, my own love for My Hero soured after a point. But despite everything, I feel like the series was good. And it ended the best that it could. Would I change a few things leading up to the end? Of course, who wouldn't? But sometimes you gotta let a story end and just enjoy the parts that you do. But nonetheless, My Hero may not have reached the lofty heights of Naruto. But regardless, it was a good story. The memes are funny though.